Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. They lied to you. Don't worry, I'm going to clear it up right now. Jesus said, "Get behind thee, Satan." This is the Holy Grail. So during a session, I was training a client in my course, Cracked Female Code. It was about the third or fourth day when we started talking about how to open up and how to ground yourself, etc. And understanding how the female brain processes. He looked at me, he goes, so you read the book, The Da Vinci Code? And I was like, no, I've never even heard of it. This was years ago. I mean, 15 plus years ago. I don't remember exactly when, but it was a long time ago. So going through the course, he had recognized that something that I was teaching was actually in the book, The Da Vinci Code. Okay, I lowered the music a little bit. I'm going to lower it a little bit more in about 60 seconds. Not only that, but he said, I understand what they were trying to say now. Now, a lot of stuff is being put in front of you, but unless you have a certain education, you're not actually going to see it or understand it. Now, a lot of you have probably watched the movie, The Da Vinci Code. It's in there, and I've talked about it during these videos for the last 10, 15 years. Now, the reason why I call my course Cracked Female Code is because there is a literal code or series of codes that are going on not only within language, but within our own processing inside our brain unconsciously. Now, over the centuries and thousands of years, there has been a real battle to convince you or to terrorize you never to use your right brain or to truly go deep into it. That's why, number one, narcissists do everything in their power to shame and humiliate you, terrorize you, and put fear in you. Because if they can do that, there's an artery in the lower reptilian brain. And what happens is when you're in any kind of fear state, now, one thing we learned in NLP, on the left side, they put the word love on top of the whatever on the board, and on the right side, they put the word fear. And so they said, every emotion you experience falls underneath one of these two emotions. Peace, harmony, tranquility, happiness, joy. Well, those all fall under love. Anxiety, fear, guilt, shame, terror, panic, those all fall under fear. Now, here's the point. If you're in any kind of fear state, such as shame, humiliation, or embarrassment, it tightens up your muscles, it tightens up your nervous system, and it narrows, and when it tightens up an artery in the lower reptilian brain, and thus it narrows the blood flow. So now you don't get very much blood flow to go into your larger human brain, thus opening you up to your right brain. When you're in a state of peace and tranquility and calm and love, that artery relaxes, all your muscles in your entire body relaxes, and that artery opens wide open and allows blood to flow up into the human brain, especially the larger left and right hemispheres. Thus, you can access the right side. Now, the right side of the brain uses a lot more fuel, a lot more oxygen, and a lot more glutamine, glycogen. So every food that you eat, every food from protein to complex carbs to simple sugars, etc., it all breaks down into glycogen. So when you're in a state of fear, that artery narrows and very little blood gets through, and blood carries oxygen and glycogen, which are your number one and number two fuel sources for not only your brain, but also your muscles. Now, why is this important? Because the whole system, from narcissism to our educational system to everything, is designed to put you in a state of fear in one way or another. Why? They don't want you accessing this side of your system. Because if you access this side of your system, you'll start to see the patterns. And then you'll start to see your own power. My job, period, is to open you up and put you back into your own creative power. Now, we're going to get back to the Da Vinci Code in a second and talk about what the code is that I mentioned. But you might be asking, why would they do this to us? So a small group of people can control the masses and control the planet and control the wealth and control the power. if you are aware of what's going on and you can see it, they lose power over you. And if that spreads like wildfire and everyone starts to see it, then they lose control. And essentially that's what's starting to happen right now. Alright, so in this clip, I'll give you the name. I'll probably put a link down there. It's called Sophie, You Are the Secret, The Da Vinci Code, Tom Hanks and Ian McKellen. So in this scene, basically they're down inside this some kind of librarian. I think it's her old home and her grandfather died, etc. But when she was a little girl, she found it and she was reading all these manuscripts from back. So essentially these are the manuscripts back from the time of Jesus. And she's reading them, and it wasn't her grandfather, it was a guy that was kind of appointed to be her basically protector, but she didn't know any of this. Her family was killed in an accident. She was the only survivor. And she doesn't understand what's going on. So here she is, teenage years, and she's trying to go through all these manuscripts, trying to find out what happened to her family, her mother, father, brother, etc. And the uncle comes downstairs to say hello, and he sees what she's doing. She's looking through the manuscripts of Jesus Christ and all that stuff. And he flips out and he throws all the books on the table and screams at her, "No, don't ever look at these." He says, "Promise me you'll never look at these manuscripts," etc., etc. So she's like, why? Now she's trying to find out what happened to her family, not knowing like these documents have nothing to do with her family. Some of these manuscripts are over 2,000 years old. So essentially Tom Hanks, this is many years later. She's a grown woman. She's probably 35 some years old, and Tom Hanks they're downstairs in this, I think library. Maybe it was the same house she grew up in with that guy, with that man, her not mentor but protector. And essentially what they were doing was protecting her. And Tom Hanks realizes oh, you're the last living relative in the bloodline of Jesus Christ. So essentially what I'm trying to say, even though they were protecting her, then this whole group of people, came to that house where Tom Hanks and her are at, and they walk upstairs because they were down in the basement library. They walk upstairs and her grandmother's there and all these other people that are assigned to protect her. And all this time, this was hidden from her. She didn't know about any of this. She had no idea what was going on. So this is all symbolic language. Now, okay. During our NLP trainings and Erickson and hypnosis trainings, they said one of the best ways you can teach a human being for them to actually understand something is teach it to them in metaphors, stories, or examples. Because if they can understand the metaphor, the story, or the example, then they understand it. Now this is right brain communication, okay? It's the symbolic language, which women do all the time, whereas men have a real challenge with it. Now, even for women, though, a lot of stories that are passed down from our grandparents and on, a lot of it is storytelling. This is how you wake people up. See, if you understand something logically, you don't actually understand it. You have to understand it on a deeper level. So both men and women have a right brain. So this is how you bypass the logical brain. It's not even like we're trying to be sneaky. It's that we understand that if we can't get past the logical brain, then you're never going to understand it. Because see, the right brain puts the pieces of the puzzle together. The right brain's also very aware of symbolic language and communication. So it's listening to the story, but on the inside, it's going left, right, left, right, left, right. It's going, okay, here's the story. That's parallel in my life, in this area of my life. Now here's what happens to people when they watch movies. Afterwards, they'll share with a friend, man, what's so funny? It's so coincidental. In my life right now, I'm actually going through a very similar thing. It's well, yeah, that's the whole reason why movies and books and stories are made, to help you resolve issues in your unconscious mind. So one of the techniques that I'm trained in is, it's not just a technique, it's a series of techniques, but essentially overall, it's how do you use stories, metaphors, and examples to help their unconscious mind see the bigger picture? Because the right brain is the bigger picture. When you're doing therapy with people, you have to do it to the right brain. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, I'm going to give you a really, really clear, direct, keyword direct example. So let's say you have an issue, a problem, something that's been bothering you since childhood, your entire life. I could say, well, and this is the direct left brain way to do it. Get over it. Forget about it. Stop talking about it. Better now? It's the same thing with issues around money. I could say, well, just forget about that. Just go be a millionaire. That's all you need to do. And I could charge you $250 for 7 seconds of advice. You got a husband and wife coming in for therapy, for marriage counseling, and you listen to them like, well, stop doing that. Like, stop pissing them off. Stop pissing her off. Stop upsetting her. Stop making her feel lonely. Okay, $250, please. I mean, honestly, if I could do honestly, I'm going to tell you something right now. If I could figure out a way to do therapy that literally took me 7 seconds to just tell you something and it worked, I would just charge you $2,000 per session. That's all I would do, because it gets it done fast versus doing therapy sessions with you for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or however long it would take. If I charged you $10,000 for one session or 5 sessions in order to help you get over your fear of money, or for some reason you don't know why but you can't make money, and I could literally do these sessions, and after these sessions in the next 12 months you made $1 million, would you do it? I would. Okay, so sorry, I digress. I got off path a little bit there. So the point being is therapy and helping, even helping people just get over problems at work. You can't just go, well, then just don't feel that way. I mean, honestly, if it worked, that would be awesome. But apparently, and obviously, it doesn't work that way. So when you do work with me, you're going to notice I talk a lot. I'll talk about stories and examples and metaphors. And here's what you're going to notice. It's going to sound like we're just having a conversation at the coffee shop. In fact, a lot of times I'll meet my clients at coffee shops and it just seemingly seems like we're just hanging out. And then what happens is they'll call me a week later and say, hey, like that problem I had? I'm like, yeah. They're like, it's gone. I'm like, oh, interesting. So a lot of times when we're just talking, I'm doing therapy. So here's the one way you'll know is you'll start to feel better no matter how. Here's the very typical experience when I work with people. People will come in or over the phone with the darkest, most depressed state of mind. They've been there for months, maybe even years. Sometimes it takes me about an hour and 15 minutes, but somewhere between that moment in time, something shifts, something changes. And you literally start feeling better. You start to feel lighter. Okay, a couple more pieces to put in here. So let's go back to the Da Vinci Code and the image that Tom Hanks found. And then he saw it, but he had to do the contrast where the background became dark and then you saw it. So here's the image right here. So from her shoulder and head down to the elbows and arms of Jesus and hers, and then back up the arms of Jesus, there's a V right there. This is when Jesus said, I forget it, Peter, I think it was Peter, but whoever it was, they were trying to say, oh, I would never let them do that to you. I would never let them kill you, because he announced they're going to kill me, etc. And Jesus looked at him and said, get behind thee, Satan. Because he was being macho and egotistical. I would never let them touch you. I would die first, or whatever he said. And Jesus said, get behind thee, Satan. And everyone went like, wait, what? He's trying to protect you. Now here's the deal. He was coming from his ego, which is the tip of this V that I'm talking about here. Again, this is symbolic. This is the code. The entire movie is based on this one symbol. This is the discovery. Now, I had been teaching this for probably 15 plus years before. By the way, my client's name was Mark, and he has his master's degree in psychology, and he works with marriage, family counseling, and helping parents to raise their children, etc. So when I taught him this, and now I didn't use this image at the time because I had never heard of the book, The Da Vinci Code. I think it had just came out like a year or two before I met him. And he kind of giggled. I'm like, what's so funny? He goes, this was in the Da Vinci Code. He goes, so you read that book? I'm like, no, never heard of it. And he goes, yeah, he goes, you need to read that book. I'm like, well, why? He goes, it's exactly what you're talking about right now. So when I went and read it, and especially when I saw the movie and they show this image, I was like, oh. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. Let me get a little bit clearer. Now here's the deal. The one thing Tom Hanks did was he darkened the background, causing contrast to where instead of having like the pillars and like the open window like things behind Jesus and Mary, it made everything dark, and then you saw that V really, really clearly right there. By the way, Contrast is a right brain function. This is the Holy Grail I'm revealing right now. Now here's the V that I teach in my course. So the right brain is the bigger picture because it's open, it's wide open. The left brain, you get more and more focus, which means your vision gets narrower and narrower, which we call linear, like you're looking down the line, till you get to the pinpoint. When you get to the pinpoint, you become blind. You can't see the bigger picture. This is where people can manipulate you and trick you and take advantage of you, okay? And so Jesus was saying, open up to see the bigger picture so you can see what's going on. When you are put in a state of fear, shame, guilt, embarrassment, or panic or anything at all like that, it puts you in the tip of the V and you can't see because you're in a state of panic, and that artery in the lower reptilian brain narrows, which puts you in the tip of this V. Now here's the thing, when you focus too much, it causes you to go into the tip of the V, and after a period of time, you're not breathing deep, because what happens is you're not breathing deep, your muscles tighten up, and you can cause yourself to go into a panic. So a state of fear will put you there, and focusing too long. So if you do focus work, after 45 minutes, you really should take a break, get up, go for a walk outside, or into a big church where it's this big, tall ceiling, because then your eyes can expand open, your pupils can get larger, okay? Now, my coaching series on internal awareness techniques and emotional grounding techniques teach you how to do this anywhere. You can be in your apartment or in your living room doing this. Now, when I talk about symbology, the clip from that movie, when they're telling her, like, you are the secret. You're the last living descendant of Jesus Christ. Well, that's a metaphor for this V that we're talking about right now. You, and I mean you, not Sophie. You have the secret inside you. It's always been there. All you have to do is turn this V around. And that's what my course on internal awareness and emotional grounding techniques do. They teach you how to do this. And now you can walk out. And now you're free. So what is this all about? What was Jesus trying to get to us? What was Mary Magdalene so important about? Why was this so important? Why was her teachings and the book about her hidden? Because it's the female power that is going to take over the world. Now, I don't necessarily mean women, because Jesus was clearly a man. Anyone who learns how to access this part of their neurology, their system, their brain, you connect to the energy around you, to the actual atoms and electrons and quantum particles, and your thoughts begin to create reality. They, the other side, they didn't want you to discover this. This is why this has been hidden for so long from you. Now, if you're an either or thinking, you're a woman going, yeah, it's female time, it's the woman. No, it's not. You're still coming from your left brain if that's what you think. It's both. Most of my videos talk about the right brain, but I'm not saying only either or. I'm saying and in both. Now you have a doorway that's open from the left brain to the right brain. It's kind of like in my living room, I've got a wall right here. Now, if I knock this wall down, now I have access to the room over there. There's a big, wide open space. So information can not transpire, but can transfer from left to right. That's what it's all about. Most human beings are not like that. Most human beings are either left or right. Very few people can truly be both. Now, one thing I want to mention there, I would say your average male is left brain, but crosses over to the right brain at least to a little bit. Well, in general, those are your football players. Those are your physical people, because your right brain connects to your physical body. So if you do yoga, if you stretch, if you lift weights, if you do deep breathing, if you jog, if you do football and wrestling, you're physically connecting with your body, which opens you up and stimulates your right brain activity. A lot of these men, for some reason, tend to have longer relationships. The relationships tend to do better because on some level, he has accessed a part of this part of his brain. The sad part is society says, oh, these men are stupid, and therefore they get pushed down because these are the people that have greater access, and we don't want them to know that. Well, I do, but the powers that be don't. I don't know if using the word average is the right term. I'm going to say the average male who has access to this part of their brain. which I don't know what portion of society, whether that's 20% or 30 or what. Okay, I Googled something. First thing that popped up, I want to read off to you. Now, before I mention that though, everything that I teach in my course, the internal awareness and emotional grounding techniques, this is what it does to you. So when you're truly grounded, you're open. That doorway to the right brain's open. You can transfer information left to right. Now you're what we call fully conscious. I don't know if I should have used the word fully, because that's something that you have to really learn how to develop. And you can with these internal awareness techniques as long as you commit to it. But when you get good at these and better, you'll absolutely have this access to both the left and right. And I will say it in this way, you will have a much greater awareness of what's going on inside you and outside and around you, both left and right, both out and in, or inside and outside. You'll begin to develop the ability to see things from different perspectives, which is extremely important for getting ahead in life, for understanding someone's perspective, for putting the pieces together. I'm really not finding the right words. This is not as powerful as I want it to be. Let me just read off what the first thing I Googled. So it says the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, discovered in Egypt in 1896 and further fragments in 1945, is an agnostic text presenting her as a key leader and recipient of special visions from Jesus, often emphasizing a partnership that balances male and female, left and right brain, or left energy and right energy, spiritual principles. These are the internal awareness techniques that I'm talking about. It was excluded from the biblical canon, often cited as being too heterodox, don't even know what that means, or not authored by an apostle, thus rendering it hidden for centuries. They didn't want you to have access to this power. That's why they killed Jesus. If you want to begin learning these internal awareness techniques, get a hold of me and I can coach you over the phone, I can coach you in person, etc., okay? And men, these teachings, these coaching courses, these techniques, the internal awareness techniques, they are taught in the course Cracked Female Code. They are a requirement. It is 1/3 of the pillar of understanding women and yourself. And this is where you gain greater social power. The better you learn and develop the techniques, the greater social power you have. The key word is with people, not over them. All right, that's it, guys. God bless you. Please click subscribe, click the like button, go ahead and make a comment. And if you want, you can go ahead and make a donation to help out this channel. There's a PayPal link right there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.